Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight's story takes us deep into the quiet heart of an American town where nothing ever seems to happen until one night changed everything. It's a story about secrets, desire, betrayal, and a confession whispered in a bedroom that would haunt the town forever. This is the bedroom confession, what really happened that night. The town of Maple Hollow sits tucked between rolling fields and a stretch of lonely highway. People here don't lock their doors, and everyone knows everyone else. On summer evenings, the air smells of pine and diesel from passing trucks. It's the kind of place where gossip travels faster than the wind, and where one person's mistake can become the town's only topic for years. Emily Rhodes was 27. She worked as a nurse at the local clinic, known for her kindness and for always putting others first. To the outside world, she had a perfect life. Engaged to Mark Daniels, a respected carpenter, quiet, steady, the kind of man mothers wanted their daughters to marry. But those who knew Emily closely noticed something strange in her lately. She smiled, but her eyes carried a kind of distant fear, like she was holding a secret too heavy to bear. On the night of June 11th, police received a 911 call from the Daniels' small house at the edge of town. The voice on the line was trembling, barely audible. It was Mark. "She's not breathing," he said. When officers arrived, they found Emily lying on the bedroom floor, her face pale, her body cold. At first glance, it looked like a tragic accident, maybe a heart attack or an overdose, but the crime scene photos told a different story. Detective Laura Kinney had seen her share of heartbreaks in Maple Hollow, but something about this scene didn't fit. The bedroom was too clean. The sheets had been changed, the air freshener sprayed recently, and there were faint marks on Emily's neck that couldn't be ignored. The medical examiner later confirmed Emily had been strangled. It wasn't suicide. It wasn't an accident. It was murder. When police questioned Mark, he was cooperative but strained, too calm, too rehearsed. He said he had been working late in his shop and came home to find her lifeless. But Detective Kinney noticed his hands. The calluses on his palms were fresh, as if he'd been gripping something tight. Still, there wasn't enough to arrest him. Not yet. Days turned into weeks, and the investigation grew darker. Emily's co-workers mentioned a man, David Holt, a paramedic who had joined the clinic a few months earlier. They had seen how David looked at Emily, how she smiled nervously when he was around. When detectives checked phone records, they found over 100 calls between Emily and David in the past 2 months. Most were late at night. When confronted, David admitted they had an affair. She said she was going to end it, he told police. She said she couldn't keep lying to Mark. But something about David's tone didn't sit right. He didn't sound heartbroken. He sounded afraid. Detective Kinney obtained a search warrant for David's apartment. Inside, she found a box hidden under his bed. Old love notes, photographs, a hairbrush, and a ring that matched Emily's engagement band. When asked why he had it, he said she had left it there accidentally. But the detectives knew better. They believed David was obsessed with her. Still, there was no proof that he'd been near Emily's house that night. For months, the case went cold. The town moved on as towns do, but Kinney couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Then, almost by accident, the breakthrough came. One stormy night, Mark Daniels walked into the Maple Hollow police station. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. He said he wanted to talk to Detective Kinney alone. What he said next would change everything. He whispered, "I need to tell you what really happened that night." He began to cry before he could even start. "I loved her," he said. "God knows I did. But she was slipping away from me. Every night she'd come home later. Every time I touched her, she'd flinch. I knew there was someone else. He told Kinney that on the night of June 11th, he confronted Emily in their bedroom. He had found the messages between her and David. The fight escalated. She told him she was leaving. I couldn't let her go. He whispered. I just wanted her to stop screaming. Tears streamed down his face as he described how his hands went around her neck, how her eyes looked at him one last time before closing. Afterward, he panicked. He tried to make it look like a break-in, but lost his nerve. He changed the sheets, cleaned the room, and called 911, pretending to find her dead. For months he carried the secret, watching the town blame someone else, but guilt was eating him alive. Detective Kinney recorded every word. The confession was clear, detailed, and emotional. Still, she needed to verify it. When forensic teams re-examined the house, they found traces of Emily's blood under the mattress, a broken necklace piece inside the vent, and a partial fingerprint on the headboard marks. It matched perfectly with the struggle marks on Emily's neck. The next morning, police arrested Mark Daniels. The town of Maple Hollow fell into stunned silence. For many, Mark was the last person they would have suspected. He was the friendly neighbor who built people's porches, helped with repairs, attended church every Sunday. To find out that he had killed the woman he claimed to love shattered whatever peace the town had left. At his trial, Mark pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. His lawyer argued it was a moment of passion, not premeditation. The jury deliberated for less than a day. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. David Holt, the paramedic, was cleared of all suspicion but left town soon after. Rumors say he still sends flowers to Emily's grave every year. After the sentencing, Detective Kinney sat alone in her office, reading over the case files one last time. She thought about how love, when mixed with jealousy, can turn into something monstrous. She wrote in her final report, "The truth rarely hides in the dark forever. Sooner or later it confesses itself." In Maple Hollow, people still talk about that night. The house where Emily died has long been sold, repainted, and remodeled. But locals say sometimes, late at night, the lights flicker in that same bedroom. Some say it's the wiring. Others believe it's her, restless, waiting for peace. What everyone agrees on is that the town has never been the same. And that's what really happened that night.